Good morning, my friends. Today, it's a cold, gray morning. Actually, I'm not even sure if it's that cold. Yesterday, it kind of warmed up a bit. Over the weekend, it was pretty damn cold. I had to put on my long johns and, the whole get up. And it's actually interesting because my apartment has central heating. So it has this weird problem that it actually gets too hot in here, which is kind of annoying because it's you know, like it's cold outside and it's too hot in here and it's uncomfortable for me, especially at night when I'm trying to sleep and I'm sweating and it's like, okay, this should be like it should be a little bit too cold almost. Like I should have to wear like my long johns in bed. That was like the other place I was living at before where I had to actually pay for my heating. That's what it was like. But, it is nice once it's like minus 20 and you come in here and then it's actually a little bit colder now. And I realized I have to wear a sweater inside. And so now things have changed. Now I'm actually pretty happy about the central heating that we have it in here. Even though it was a little bit annoying when it was really cold outside and it was too hot in the building to where I could sleep, because I dealt with that the whole summer. I didn't have AC, so it's like I don't feel like having to deal through that, especially when it's winter already. But now it's sort of at an equilibrium in terms of temperature. I think they finally nailed it right. Whoever's in charge of the building heating system, they definitely cracked down on something. So that's good for them. Today I'm going to be talking. Someone suggested that I talk about album covers. I'm not really sure what to talk about in terms of that topic, but I will say that album covers, at least for a lot of mainstream music, I've mentioned this before, they've gotten really lazy. Like it's really bad how horrible some of these album covers are. Like you look at album covers from like 2008, 2009, and you see they're in like these, well lit studios. The editing, the photo editing's nice. The graphic design is usually very sleek. Just look at like Lady Gaga. What's that album? The one Alejandro's on. It's like Monster, something like that. Anyway, that album cover, that's like pinnacle, like 2009, 2010 era graphic design for album art. And it looks nice. It's sleek. And then you have album art today. I mean, for a lot of music, it's actually like pretty decent. But I'm talking like specifically for like a lot of pop music. It's like so lazy that it's like, it looks like something you grab on DeviantArt or something. You look at like Trippie Redd, Lil Pump, Lil Uzi, all these rappers with their album art. It looks like shit. Like I can't like, I mean I don't want to judge this album art because it's taste is subjective. But like fuck it, it doesn't look nice. It looks really cheesy, especially for a rap album. It looks like some high school girl art project kind of thing. And then just some other stuff I see, like it just doesn't look like captivating at all. I don't know how they're selling these things, because I truly believe that people don't really buy albums based off the music. They're really looking at the album art a lot of the times. At least that's the case in vaporwave. Although vaporwave's a completely different niche market, so I think that in pop music, it's different because it's like people are attuned to like the music video, what they hear on the radio, what they hear on social media, the songs coming out, and they can sort of just ignore the artwork even though it's pretty lame. These aren't iconic pieces of music anymore, and it's visual in that sense. The artwork isn't a standalone piece of art anymore. It's just like this. It's like a, oh yeah, just make some art. I have to say I come into that problem a lot with my music when I have to make artwork, especially if I have a lot of different aliases. It becomes really challenging for me to make art, especially if I have artists who don't have art and I have to make art for them, which is kind of annoying. But I don't really blame them because I don't blame them for not wanting to make art because I don't want to make it either. And it's not that I don't enjoy doing it really. It's just that I'm not that good at it. I'm really good at doing minimalist things, and there's only so much you can do with minimalism to the point where it's kind of like it just looks lazy, you know? So, having said that, it would be nice, um, if I could pay for a graphic designer or something like that, but I don't know. it's not, um, it's not really I've ever really thought about doing, but I still make my own art generally. Sometimes I get other people to do it. Sometimes I commission someone if it's an important album, but if it's like I have a lot of aliases and I do a side project, generally I'll do it most of the time. There's no point in getting a professional to do something like that because I don't know if it's going to sell or not. That's the other thing I want to bring up again with vaporwave specifically. This is for the vaporwave market. Something that I've noticed. It's so easy to make that kind of music because you're not making music. You're just taking other people's work, and it's so simplistic in terms of like the breadth of talent you need to make that kind of music. There's obviously really great vaporwave out there, no doubt about it. People that like put a lot of work into it and makes it sound like original and unique in that sense. But that's not what drives that market. It's all about the aesthetic, right? It's all about that artwork, and that's a place where like graphic design, visual arts really shine more so than the actual music. The music in vaporwave is sort of like a placeholder for the album art, really, which I find kind of funny to think about. Because it's not really a music genre. It's more of like this visual art sort of genre. It's this art movement in general, right? Which I think is more indicative of graphic design, visual design, architecture, fashion, more so than music. Music's like this placeholder to me when I'm looking at vaporwave specifically. Although I think that sound sort of breaching into the mainstream a little bit more, but the aesthetic is more sort of geared towards visual artists. I think that's sort of like just that sphere of vaporwave should be more geared towards visual artists in terms of making album art. It's sort of like that I feel like it's going to be the new sort of look of the 2020s. Once we hit to the next decade, I think musically it might be a little bit different. It might add elements of trap once that sort of breaches off into something new. Vaporwave will sort of come with it. This is all just wave sort of art history going on right now. It's not really going to last that long. It's sort of like a phase. It's like Art Deco almost. Art Deco, modernism. I don't know much else about architecture or visual design or anything like that, but I know that's a thing. So anyway, there's not much else to be said about artwork. I just think nowadays it's become very lazy, especially in the pop industry, and I think they can really step that up. Although I don't think they really care because they're still making a lot of money. I will say I like Post Malone's album cover. It's pretty aesthetically pleasing to look at. I don't know about the music. I'm not much of a fan of his. And there's some other artwork that's pretty decent. But I mean, artwork's always going to be artwork. It's nothing. It's supposed to just reflect the music visually, right? I mean, that's the whole idea, which I think is very hard to do. especially if you're not a visual artist mainly, you're more of a musician like myself. I find trouble being able to uh, reflect that in a visual sense. Um, but I think I've done a pretty good job, especially with my other albums, coming up with artwork that sort of encapsulates the vibe. But sometimes I think I might be off just a little bit. Um, but it is what it is. Anyway, that's all I have to say for today, and I hope you have a wonderful day.